We are back on Morning Line. It's our final segment this morning with Senator Steve Dickerson with us, Representative Bryan Terry. The two of them have joined forces. A piece of legislation you're looking at it, toughening the laws on those folks who are manufacturing and getting onto the streets real dangerous drugs like fentanyl, some of these opioids that are out there. And that's just part, as you say, of the equation of what you guys think needs to be done in Tennessee to address this issue. And as you know, opioid addiction and overdoses continue to get worse and worse. Let's go next to Bryan. Bryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Been waiting a while. Listen, earlier in the program you talked about fentanyl coming through Mexico and originating from China. Well, if you think about it, if it's originating from China and then it's going to Mexico and coming up to the border, I mean, it'd be simplistic to say, okay, well, that's another good reason to close the border. But let's go back to how is it getting from China to Mexico? Now, I know Tampos and those guys, you know, they get most of their other stuff like meth and coke through South America. I don't see those guys going over to China and picking up drums of fentanyl. And it'd be hard to see how the Chinese would be, because I know Mexico, I'm pretty smart, Nick knows this, I know the ports of the West Coast in Mexico. They really don't have ports on the west coast of Mexico. They have some ports in the Gulf of Mexico by, you know, like Houston and the other side of Mexico, but they don't have them on the west coast. It's all leisurely sailboat things. So they might be, I'm wondering how they're getting it to there.
Well, part of it, I mean, I did a story on this. I mean, you can order this. I can order some of this stuff from China right now, and they'll mail it to me. And I don't know if it's pure or what it is, but I mean, you can go online, put in an order, and get some of this stuff mailed to you. Now, you might get busted when it arrives, but you can order it.
So to you know, sort of amplify what your caller was the point he was making was it's being imported now, and what's the sort of the supply chain, to put it in a business term. Really, the demand is so high, somebody's going to come up with a way to supply this.
They'll find a way, because the money needs to be made.
There's so much money out there, and by report, some of this is being manufactured in the United States now. And so really, you know, his point is, why make it someplace, ship it someplace else, ship it here? You know, if you're a businessman, just make it here and avoid all the headaches. And so I think what we're going to see increasingly is these substances, these chemicals, are being manufactured, synthesized in the United States.
Yeah, and that was you know, where the supply chain is. I think recently there was 100,000 pills, fentanyl pills, found in Grundy County, and then most recently there was I think 40 pounds of fentanyl was confiscated in New York, and that guy was from, ironically, from Jefferson County, Colorado. And so, you know, how they're getting that medication or how they're getting the pills and where they're getting them to, you know, that's a federal issue. They're going across state lines with that, and so, you know, from a federal crackdown, that's something that's going to have to happen as well.
Now, I know both you guys feel very strongly about it, and you come at it from a different angle or a unique perspective, since you're both physicians. What do you think right now as you move forward with this legislature? I mean, I know Speaker Harwell and others have said, yeah, they're behind this plan and pushing forward. I mean, I assume your bill has some support, I would think. But beyond just, everyone's for toughening laws, okay? I don't think you're going to have a tough time passing that. But some of the other stuff, what else is the legislature going to look at?
So to me, it's a three-pronged approach, and this is pretty simplistic. And first is the legitimate health care provider. Make sure there are proper guardrails, monitoring, make sure that physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants in our state are practicing within sort of parameters. And so you want to make sure that that's taken care of. Secondly, again, I'll harp on this all day long, the mental health aspect. If we have people who are addicted, people who may become addicted, people who have depression, whatever it may be, we need access to mental health. And then now this sort of the criminal side of it, and as you said, you know, tough. Nobody's ever going to argue about being tough on crime, but we need to make sure it's in context. The governor's working on this, the speaker is working on this, and we're trying to work with all of them and come up with legislation that fits in sort of the overall, sort of the grander package.
What do you guys do when you have a patient come in as anesthesiologists who has had a prior addiction to this, and they've kind of kicked it, but now they're going to need some kind of pain-killing procedure for whatever's going to be done? How do you work with them? Because, you know, sometimes they can fall off the wagon real quick with just one pill, right?
Well, oftentimes it has to do with, depending on what procedure they're having. I mean, we have a preoperative clinic. And they may come into our clinic, and we'll sit down and counsel them on that. And if it really kind of depends on what their surgery is. If it's, if they're having a surgery on their arm, we can do a numbing shot up here. We can even put nerve catheters in right here to help with their pain.
Blocking the nerve as opposed to a chemical numbing it.
Right, and it just kind of gets the arm numb, and so it decreases the amount of pain medication that you would have to give them for surgery. There's different modalities and things that we can do for that.
All right, so there's always options.
Multimodal analgesia is what sort of the grab bag term is. Local anesthetics. You give them some Novocaine, give them some Celebrex before surgery. Things like that. So there are ways to sort of mitigate the pain around surgery. The fact of the matter is, one of the reasons why medications like morphine and Dilaudid are so popular in the operating room and on the street is they do have a profound effect on the human brain and the human nervous system. And so, if you can't give somebody an opiate around the perioperative period, it does sort of tie one arm behind your back, but you can manage.
Okay, that's right. And just in terms of people that are watching this that haven't had an issue, but like me, when I toward rib cartilage, or if you have your wisdom teeth out, it was to the point with my son when he had his wisdom teeth out, because I preached this to him so much, and we have some friends who have gone through issues with these pills. He didn't want to take his pain pills after his wisdom teeth were pulled out, and I said, son, it's okay in this setting, this has been prescribed, and if it makes you feel better in a short... He took one, and then that was it, and he toughed out whatever minor pain he had later. So should people, like I said, I had it, and I only took one, and that was it for me. I just don't even want to mess with it, because it scares me if, what if somehow I just like it a lot and I keep taking them?
So, one of the interesting wrinkles, and again, I treat pain, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is that different people respond to pain in different ways. Some people are taller, some people are shorter, some people have high blood sugar, some people have low. Some people's nerves are more susceptible to pain, and some people's perception of pain is very different. You could have identical twins who've been separated, have had different life experiences. You could give them the same painful experience, and they might perceive it very differently. And so it really is very individual, individual experience. And one of the things we're trying to do is maintain the physician, medical practitioner's ability to treat those individuals in an appropriate manner.
And that's one of the tougher things, because it's really based on the patient. The patient can be almost totally out. In fact, in the recovery room, the nurse may have to wake them up to ask them what their pain score is, and they'll say, "Well, I'm an 8," and then you look at them and they're
an 8 high, high or low threshold. I have a low threshold for pain. I prefer not to feel it.
Sure. But they'll say, "I'm a 9," and then they fall back to sleep. It's a very individual, very personal experience.
Okay, but you shouldn't be afraid, under doctor's care in a limited capacity, to take it if you have your wisdom teeth out. I was just asking along those lines, because some people are worried about that kind of thing.
I think everybody should be cognizant of that and should be careful and thoughtful about it. But I'm a person who passes kidney stones about once a year.
Boy,
I'll tell you this:
you need it.
You need it when you need it.
Yeah, something like that. Well, listen. And my take is that this is going to be a continuing problem. But passing the tougher laws and then having guys like you talking about this up there, very important. I appreciate you both coming on.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Can we do this again sometime?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Guys come on as this thing moves forward, if it passes, and see where we're going. But I like the doctors on it.
Great.
All right. We'll take a break. I'll be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this. Stay with us. Great job.